To anyone that has been craving the R-rated Sam Raimi that we've been missing for the last 25 years, I have good news because Send Help has arrived. Two colleagues become stranded on a deserted island as the only survivors of the plane crash. On the island, they must overcome past grievances and work together to survive, but ultimately, it's a battle of wills and wits to make it out alive. What's up, everybody? I am Nick, and today we're reviewing the first rated R Sam Raimi film since the year 2000 with the gift we have Send Help. And a common way that people are describing this movie is that it's a blend of Misery, the Stephen King adaptation, and Castaway, where Tom Hanks is on the island. And after seeing it, I think that is a very good way to describe this movie. We have two essential storylines going on, where one, we have the survival element of Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien trying to survive as long as they can on this island after going through the plane crash. But on the other hand, we have a descent into madness arc with Rachel McAdams' character as she starts enjoying life on this island as a fan of the Survivor show and having control over the CEO and Dylan O'Brien, and they really found a way to strike a nice balance between the two stories to where one isn't overpowering the other or one just feels kind of lackluster with the other thing going on. Now, the survival element of this brings out exactly what we've wanted out of Sam Raimi for a very long time. This does not shy away from the absurd violence and humor that Sam Raimi is best known for. Now, the Raimi violence is just dominant, and it is the most gruesome that we've seen him in a very long time. Specifically, there's a moment around like the halfway point where Rachel McAdams is hunting a boar, and it is by far like the most dramatic and bloodiest hunting scene I have seen in my life, and that is exactly what Raimi fans would want out of it, and the amount of style that he just brings throughout this entire movie, not just in the violence and all that, but the humor. It's very Raimi humor, and especially in the shots where he's using those to get the comedy he wants out of it. There's just a really great amount of Raimi-isms in this movie, and it definitely makes this one of the survival films with more personality than we've had in quite a bit. Now, I do think that the movie hits a bit of a lull in the second act when we slow down on these big action moments, but this is where we hammer in the tension between Linda and Bradley, and this is the main dynamic of it, where yes, we have the whole survival backdrop and some really awesome moments, but this is what the main story is. So this relationship just keeps changing as it goes on, where we have shifts of power, dynamics of CEO and employee to the employee that knows the survival aspects versus CEO that's been away from all of that his whole life. So it's nice to see these weird shifts and the growing competitiveness between them. And Linda's subtle fall into insanity is written really well and showed well like through all the actions and the decisions she's making. But Rachel McAdams' performance is really amazing and hammers all of that in. Rachel McAdams, more like Rachel McAdemy Award. But yeah, Rachel McAdams was absolutely fantastic in just showing all of this going on and really made it believable, just this fall that her character's going on. And Dylan O'Brien, too, was amazing, just playing this really arrogant, jerky, frat bro CEO that you just really do not like. But Dylan O'Brien does a good job to make you still, like, interested in what's going on. And the chemistry between them is just fantastic. With, again, we have the tension between them, but there are moments where they're bonding and just they have a really nice chemistry going on in those moments. Now, the lull in the second act isn't from just lacking the action, where yeah, we slow down on that, but it isn't just because of that. I feel like the movie follows a bit of a formula, a little bit of a template, which leads to some predictable moments. I think it does a good job at throwing out some good, reasonable twists throughout, and nothing like just too absurd or too stupid of twists. Like, they feel reasonable in the moment, but overall, there are moments where you feel a slight dip in tension. Not completely, but a little bit, because you just know exactly what is going to happen and what we're building up to happening. But once we get that third act, it is genuinely enthralling, and some of those twists really do come out of nowhere and are really well executed, just to give us this amazing finale with like dialed up to a 10 Raimi violence and humor. And like the actual ending of this movie is just so chaotic and deranged that you just cannot help but love it when you leave the theater. It really is one of the most Sam Raimi endings that we can get in 2026. Now, before I get into my final thoughts, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. The next video I'm going to do is a ranking of Sam Raimi's movies, so if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe so you can be notified when that comes out. Send Help is half survival story and half descent into madness, but the balance is there to make this concept work. With great action and horror moments giving the thrills and a well-written descent arc for our lead, we have a good January horror movie on our hands. This is by far the most gruesome and deranged Sam Raimi film of the 21st century, and because of that, my final score is going to be a 72%. For Sam Raimi fans, this movie is 100% exactly what you've been wanting for a long time. The past couple movies he's made, a little disappointing, but this one brings us back full force, and I am genuinely ecstatic that I was wrong about this movie in my January movie preview.
And then we're gonna have Send Help, a Sam Raimi thriller. Little concerned about that one. And
nope, wrong again.
So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. Make sure to leave your thoughts on the movie down below in the comments. Where does this land among the Sam Raimi films that you've seen? And make sure to tune in for that ranking coming up. We're trying to get 100 subscribers, so by the end of the year, so you know, help us to do that. Us, I mean just me, but you know, help us out. All right, tune in next time. I'll see y'all.